A video recording captures the meticulous process of an American man, once a Delta Force operator named Stephen Arthur Younger but now known as Yusuf, as he carefully crafts his message. Meanwhile, at the LA FBI field office, a team sifts through data on suspicious individuals but finds little of significance beyond a flight school reporting an Arab-sounding man seeking flying lessons. Brody, one of the team members, expresses frustration at the lack of actionable intelligence. However, a breakthrough comes when an agent discovers intriguing details about a classified individual named Henry, whose Bosnian wife has been involved in questionable activities. Meanwhile, at the Humphreys household, Henry and his wife maintain extreme caution, with security cameras installed throughout their home. News outlets report on Yusuf's alleged shooting of a police officer and kidnapping of 2 children, catching the FBI off guard as they were not previously briefed on Yusuf's activities. Brody, recognizing Yusuf as a suspect they were investigating, demands access to his file. Surprisingly, Yusuf has no record of extremism despite serving in the U.S. Army, though his military file remains classified. Brody's superior, Jack, orders all suspects to be brought in for questioning, mobilizing every available agent to focus on Yusuf's case. Despite Brody's concerns about limited personnel, Jack provides the necessary resources without divulging further details. As the FBI descends on the Humphreys household, Henry contacts his acquaintance Charles at the GIA, urgently seeking relocation to evade the FBI's scrutiny. When the CIA file on Henry is accidentally leaked, revealing him as armed and dangerous, Brody receives a warning from Charles to withdraw her agents. Ignoring the warning, the FBI proceeds cautiously, only to find themselves in a tense standoff at Henry's doorstep. Captured agents and a defiant Henry are taken in for questioning, where Henry adopts the alias H and taunts his interrogators. However, the interrogation is abruptly halted when Charles and Jack intervene, revealing that H is under protection and the FBI's actions were a mistake. Jack enlists Brody's help for a classified mission, to which she reluctantly agrees. The next day, FBI agents are summoned to an abandoned facility turned black site under military command. General Paulson briefs them on the severity of Yusuf's threat to detonate nuclear bombs in U.S. cities unless his demands are met. Despite being in custody for 24 hours, Yusuf's demands remain unclear. The interrogation takes a dramatic turn when H, a special interrogator, challenges the methods used and is subsequently taken into custody himself, raising questions about the efficacy of the FBI's approach. Brody intervenes as the good cop, ending the harsh interrogation tactics and attempting to coax information from Yusuf. However, he remains uncooperative, citing the early hour. Paulson removes Brody from the chamber, leading to a confrontation where she questions the legality and effectiveness of their actions. Despite her concerns, Brody is compelled to comply with orders to assist the military. Seeking insight, Brody consults H about his aggressive tactics in the interrogation chamber. H explains that traditional military methods won't work on Yusuf due to his training as an ex-soldier. When asked to collaborate with others, H insists on working alone with a trusted partner. Despite objections from Paulson, a higher-ranking official grants H's request, emphasizing the urgency of the situation. Alone with Yusuf, H employs brutal methods to extract information, disregarding protests from military personnel and Brody. Despite attempts to halt the torture, the severity of the threat justifies the extreme measures in the eyes of the top official. As the interrogation intensifies, Brody grapples with the moral implications and ultimately leaves the room in protest. In a moment of reflection, Brody confronts H about the futility of physical pain and interrogation. H offers to collaborate, alternating between questioning and torture. When Brody returns to the chamber, she attempts to manipulate Yusuf by invoking his family, but he remains resolute in his silence. As the night progresses, H escalates the torture with electric shocks, with his wife's arrival adding another layer of tension to the situation. Despite Yusuf's resistance, the interrogation continues, with Brody left to grapple with the moral complexity of their actions and the urgency of preventing a catastrophic outcome. At H's request, Yusuf's wife arrives at the facility, and he entrusts Brody with watching over Yusuf. During Yusuf's moment of rest, they attempt to administer electric shocks to him. However, a malfunction in the machine prevents it from shutting off as intended. Fortunately, they can rectify the situation just in the nick of time, averting a potentially disastrous outcome. While H spends quality time with his family, he reveals to Brody that he orchestrated the malfunction of the interrogation machine to instill false hope in Yusuf. As the FBI intensifies its search for the bombs, suspecting one to be in LA, Yusuf experiences excruciating pain under H's relentless torture. In a moment of vulnerability, Yusuf finally reveals his demands: an end to U.S. support for certain regimes in Islamic nations and the withdrawal of American troops from these countries. Despite the group's skepticism about meeting Yusuf's demands, H argues that the announcement alone could defuse the situation. With less than 24 hours before the supposed detonation, the top official instructs H to continue his interrogation tactics. Despite Brody's attempts to reason with Yusuf, he remains steadfast until his conditions are met. Meanwhile, the FBI uncovers footage suggesting that Yusuf intentionally allowed himself to be captured. Brody confronts Yusuf, accusing him of staging the bomb threat to make a political statement. Eventually, Yusuf admits that the bombs were a hoax, but his admission is overshadowed by a devastating explosion at a shopping mall, leading to further casualties. Angered by the loss of life, Brody resumes questioning Yusuf, who remains defiant and unrepentant. As the clock ticks down, the FBI locates one of Yusuf's bombs in Dallas, confirming its authenticity. Despite H's doubts about Yusuf cracking under pressure, he re-enters the interrogation chamber, only to be met with a surprising reaction from Yusuf. Meanwhile, the FBI makes progress in locating Yusuf's wife, adding another layer of complexity to the unfolding crisis. Brody stands firm, insisting that Yusuf's wife won't speak until she sees her children. Threats of imprisonment are aimed at her, but H suggests using Yusuf's wife as leverage. However, his drastic action of threatening her life in front of Yusuf leads to a tragic outcome. As time runs short and government officials evacuate to nuclear shelters, H is authorized to use any means necessary to extract information from Yusuf. H, driven by desperation, brings in Yusuf's children and threatens them to force Yusuf's cooperation. Eventually, Yusuf reveals the locations of 3 bombs, but H suspects there's more. Despite the intervention, H continues his aggressive tactics, convinced of a 4th bomb's existence. The situation escalates when the top official authorizes further interrogation of the children, leading to a moral dilemma for Brody. In a tense standoff, Yusuf takes control of the situation by taking the top official's gun and ending his own life. Brody, tasked with caring for Yusuf's children, exits the building as the FBI races to defuse the discovered bombs. However, H's suspicion proves correct as a 4th bomb is found, resulting in devastating consequences due to Brody's refusal to compromise her principles.